All right, so as we look at section 5 in part B, part A we talked about parallel lines. Part B we talked about perpendicular. Now, as we review, parallel lines have the same slope. So just remember, parallel lines have the same slope. This symbol right here, that is the symbol for perpendicular. Okay? So, if you don't want to spell perpendicular, that is the perpendicular symbol. So when I write a slope and I want to denote that it's perpendicular, I'm going to do a little m, and then I'm going to make a subscript below it. It's going to be a little upside down capital T. And that means that's the slope of the line that's perpendicular. But realize, guys, when you're making your subscripts, they got to be small little numbers, just like a footnote. So a subscript is going to look like that. It's a little tiny little t, and that's the symbol for perpendicular lines. Now, as we're talking about perpendicular, all I want you to focus on is the slope. So right on this first equation, what is our slope of the first equation? Y equals mx plus b. What's m? Negative 2/3. So let's put negative 2 over 3 right there for the slope. Now, a slope that's perpendicular is the reciprocal and the opposite of. And we're going to graph these in a little bit, but I just want you to think, okay, take negative 2/3 and flip it, and then take the opposite of it. What do you get?
Same thing.
Well, when you flip it, you get 3/2, and when you take the opposite of the negative, you get the positive. So you do two things. You flip it, which is the reciprocal, and you take the opposite. So this is the perpendicular slope, 3/2. Let's look at this next one. What's the slope of number 2? 4 over 1. So flip it and give me the opposite. Negative 1/4. What's the slope of number 3? Negative 1/2. Flip it and give me the opposite. Just 2 over 1 or 2, either way. So in each of those cases, the perpendicular slopes are the opposite reciprocals. So we take opposite reciprocals. Opposite means you take the opposite sign. Reciprocal means you flip it over. Okay, so that's our kind of our first step, understanding how to find a perpendicular line. Now, do you think they're always going to be in slope-intercept form? No. They might be in point-slope form. They might be in standard form. So you might have to change the equations around to figure out what the slope is to find the perpendicular line. But step 1 in every single case will be to find the slope of the original line. Then you get the perpendicular. So it's just an idea of parallel versus perpendicular. All right, moving down. It says, write an equation of a line that's perpendicular to the given line through the given point. So let's just sketch this really quick. Coming over here to the side. Good review of our sketches. Jalon and Zach, I'm going to ask you to help me with this one, and Haley. Negative 3/4 x plus 5. Where do I start? One of the three of you. Jalon, Zach, or Haley? Okay, so start at 5. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a dot. Haley, what does it mean to have a slope of negative 3 over 4? Down 3 over 4. So something about like that. So just a basic sketch of negative 3/4 x plus 5. So there's our initial line. So what they're asking us to find is the equation of a line that's through this new point. So on your graph, put the point negative 6, 2. So I want a line that's through that red dot that's perpendicular to this. So I'm just going to kind of sketch it. Would you agree that that's pretty close to perpendicular from its looks? Put the corner of the ruler in there. It's about a 90-degree angle. And shouldn't perpendicular lines have a 90 degrees? So my question is, what's the equation of that red line? Well, here's how we find it. From the blue line, what information do I pull? How does this line relate to that line? What's the only relationship? They're what? Perpendicular. So what's the slope of the original line? -3/4. What's the slope of the perpendicular line then? 4/3. So step 1 is to find the slope. Step 2 is to write an equation. Now let's go to our point slope form over there. Remember, point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put in our points, Brett, of 6 and 2, -6 and 2, and 4/3. And it's going to look like this. Y minus 2 equals 4/3 times x minus a -6 becomes a plus. So there's our equation. That is an equation of a line. However, what do they want us to write it in? Slope-intercept. That means I need to get the y by itself and distribute the m. So let's first of all distribute the m. 4/3 x. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 divided by 3 is 8. What's that?
I didn't even know you could do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, see, you learned something today. All right? Just once again, you multiply the numerator times the top and divide it by the denominator. Now, how do I move this -2 over? Just add it. Y equals 4/3 x plus 10. Now let's do some analysis. Where does the red line supposed to go through the y-axis? At 10. Is it approximately, would you guess, about 10 up there for my sketch?
Yeah.
So you know you're pretty close to what you're looking to be. So the goal is, what is the only thing we pulled from the blue line? The slope. Where did we get this point right here? They gave it to us. Do I care about this +5? No. It has nothing to do with the problem. It just helped us to graph the original one. Okay? So let's take one. Now that we've done a practice one, let's look down here and let's try to look at this. Okay? Y equals 2x minus 6. Once again, I'm just going to sketch it for us to give us a feel of what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put a dot. My slope is, what's my slope of my original line as a fraction?
-2.
-2 over 1. So from there go down 2 over 1. So something about like this. There's our original line. Don't forget your arrows. Now put the point 8,5 on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our point. Draw a line that's perpendicular about there. That looks to be our perpendicular line. Give or take, this should be a right angle in that corner right there, if it's perpendicular. So, back row, from Sam over to Luis. What's my perpendicular slope? One of you. 1 over 2, 1/2. Okay? Let's write down our point slope form. Y minus y1, m times x minus x1. And let's plug in our values. What does the first part become? Good. Nice job, Carson. Keep going, if you can.
1/2.
Good.
This one's x minus 8.
Excellent. That's point slope form. Put a little note there, point slope. Because if they just say write an equation, you can stop right there. But if they say write it in slope-intercept form, then you got to go further. Do you remember how to go further? What do we do at the 1/2? Distribute. 1/2 x minus 4. Subtract the 5. 1/2 x minus 9. Let's analyze. And this is slope, intercept. Does that look like it's about -9? Somewhat. So we know our sketch was close. Why do you think this isn't exact? Give me some reasons. Why isn't that exactly at -9? How about we have no graph paper? So we're just kind of estimating with the sketch. But it should be close.